Hi everyone! A lot of people compare Mualani to Neuvillette without even realizing that they have different concepts. Mualani uses Catalyst, which allows her to constantly cast Hydro with her normal attacks. While these attacks don't play a key role in her mechanics, it's important to note that she can cast Hydro on enemies. This allows her to then interact with Hydro with Anemo or other characters. This is important because Mualani herself has few sources of Hydro. Elemental Reaction allows Mualani to surf. She can hover above the water, her speed increases, and she gains resistance to interrupt attacks. An indicator appears next to Mualani to show how much Night Soul she has. Night Soul is a new mechanic that all Natlan characters possess. In regards to Mualani, it is important to note that it resembles Wanderer. When the character rises into the air, a stamina scale appears next to her that is independent of standard stamina and has a different color. Mualani's Night Soul scale plays a similar role. As long as the indicator is full, Mualani will surf, and as soon as the charge runs out, she stops this action. When you activate the skill, you get 60 Night Soul charges, which are enough for about 4 to 5 seconds. While in the surf, your normal attacks turn into Shark Bites, which are considered normal attacks and can activate character talents that work off of normal attacks, such as Toma. The bites themselves aren't very powerful, but they can be boosted. There are 3 divisions on Mualani's scale. Every time Mualani encounters an enemy, one of these divisions is filled. By collecting 3 divisions, an enhanced bite can be performed. It is important to note that with one enemy, 3 divisions can be collected every 0.7 seconds, which allows you to perform an enhanced bite about once every 3 seconds. If there are many enemies, you can collect 3 divisions at once. However, enhanced bites can be performed no more than every 2 seconds, so try to accumulate divisions before the bite rolls. Reinforced attacks are also considered normal attacks and activate Toma and other characters with the corresponding talents. When Mualani takes an enhanced bite, a puffer appears. If caught, it will restore 20 Night Souls to her. This extends Mualani's current stance, allowing 3 bites on a single target. If you realize that you are lacking Night Soul, it is possible to end the counter with a normal bite. However, note that this will leave a Hydro on the opponent, which may prevent you from imposing Pyro status later on, which can be inconvenient. When you encounter enemies, you leave marks on them. You can tag up to 5 enemies at once. Then when you use an enhanced bite, the marked enemies take an extra hit. Funnily enough, the more enemies tagged, the less damage you deal to each of them individually. Damage can drop to 72% of the initial value of that hit. This hints that Mualani prefers to fight single targets. It is also indicated by the fact that most of the time the bite only hits one enemy. Elemental Burst is a powerful, high damage attack. Thanks to Natlan's mechanics, when your teammates strike enemies, a flash will sometimes appear to signal the activation of Mualani's passive talent. This talent allows her to receive an additional bonus to Elemental Burst damage. The size of the bonus depends on the number of Natlan characters in your squad. In total, Mualani can increase her damage by 45%. This may seem significant because the skill itself deals a lot of damage and the bonuses are significant, but Mualani may have trouble with energy recharge. Creating squads with Mualani is challenging. Xiangling may have problems with energy recharge when she is included in the squad. We can put in Bennett, but he won't Bennett Mualani because her damage is HP dependent. So you have to increase Xiangling's energy recharge for her to be effective. Otherwise, there will be no Elemental Burst. The rest of the characters also cause difficulties. Toma casts Pyro once every 3 seconds, which is not enough. Shinyan and Dehya also have a similar problem. We can try combining Toma or Dehya with Kazuha so that Kazuha dispels Pyro. Obviously, we can expect new Pyro characters in the Pyro region to solve this problem. Squads with Anemo and Geo support work well thanks to Viridescent Venerer and Archaic Petra artifacts, as Zhongli doesn't interfere with other characters, and his shield for 20 seconds gives a bonus during Mualani Surf. You can also play through Burning. The risk of getting killed by it is minimal due to Mualani's constant movement, and Hydro status should be enough to close Vape. Creating squads with Mualani is difficult now, and if you play through Vape, there are no suitable Pyro characters. If you don't use Vape, some of the characters' potential is lost, but I'm looking forward to seeing new characters in Natlan. What to pack Mualani in? For Mualani, I recommend using Sands on HP. In Goblet Hydro is best, but HP will also work. Circlet will usually be on crit damage or crit rate. In general, Goblet Hydro is always better than Goblet HP. The best artifact set would be Obsidian Codex, which interacts with Night Soul's new mechanics to increase damage and crit rate, which along with her base crit rate at level 90 provides about 60% crit rate. Be careful not to exceed 100% crit rate. If you are playing with Farina, you can use Marechaussee Hunter, which gives a similar bonus. If you are using Mualani via burning, a temporary solution might be Dark Fruit of Bright Flowers, as it works well on her. If you're just playing through Vape, then Gilded Dreams will do. A universal option that works both with Vape and in unresponsive squads is the old Heart of Depth. When it comes to choosing a weapon, it is clear that signature weapons are the best option. The problem is that all other weapons prove to be less effective. Speaking of the legendary ones, you can consider the Nahida signature weapon for playing through Vape, or the Nouvellette signature weapon with no squad dependency. I suggest getting a new crafted weapon from Natlan. It's perfect due to its performance and passive effect, making it one of the most convenient epic options. There is also a BP weapon that looks good on her, however it increases crit rate, and if you play Mualani with Obsidian Codex, you will have 100% crit rate. In that case, you will have to collect artifacts with crit damage, which is not always easy. Crafted weapons are easier to collect, but they may require resources that you may not have. Remember, the Widsith or Sith is also a good solution, but the bonus to attack power is not useless for us. As a result, this weapon can be useful because of the elemental damage or elemental mastery bonuses, or almost useless because of the attack bonus. As for Constellation C1, it increases damage from the first bite and subsequent tag strikes. It also reduces the need for Night Souls, but this bonus is only active outside of combat. Constellation C2 adds 2 divisions to the scale, allowing for faster bite execution, and grants additional Night Soul points when collecting puffers. This makes it possible to bite more often and stay in a stance longer, even against single targets. Constellation C3 increases levels in Elemental Reaction, while C5 increases levels in Elemental Burst. Constellation C4 restores 8 units of Elemental Burst energy when the puffer is picked up, and increases Elemental Burst damage by 75%. C4 acts specifically on Elemental Burst, so if you want to attack with this skill, you need it. Finally, Constellation C6 removes the C1 bonus limitation, increasing damage significantly. What can be said about Mualani? Actually, this character is quite specific because her gameplay is quite monotonous. In addition, there are currently difficulties with this character when creating squads. In the future, I'm sure there will be a character that will be an excellent addition to Mualani. Despite this, Mualani is a very strong character that, even with an average investment, can set a new damage record on an account. Because of her mechanics, she is literally one of the best characters for such purposes, because her game is based on powerful hits. Well, that's the end of my story. Write in the comments and subscribe to the channel. It gives me a great motivation to make videos more often and make them more interesting. See you soon!